This visual analytic tool named Coincide is used to support intelligence analysis. First, let's look at the dashboard, where you can choose the entity-based and dimension-based visual components. Also, you can output and organize your thoughts through this workbench, where you structure your collected information and schematize the information used to demonstrate how you organize and schematize this. Next, we will introduce the utility of our system by a scenario where we use this priority intelligence requirement as the task assigned to the analyst that is using our system. Shia insurgents obtaining electronic trigger components, expertise, or support from Iran. An analyst can break down this general task into several hypotheses where he can test or confirm or disconfirm later. Let's suppose that he will break down this into 3 hypotheses. First, Shia insurgents are obtaining electronic trigger components from Iran. Hypothesis 2, Shia insurgents are obtaining electronic trigger expertise from Iran. Hypothesis 3, Shia insurgents are obtaining electronic trigger support from Iran. That is to say, we will look at this question from 3 perspectives. Now, targeting at the first hypothesis, the analyst can start his exploration using the visual dashboard now. He can either choose from the message, where is the source data collection, or he can choose the network, where the relationships are displayed in there, and other entities like resources, location, etc. Network is good, but sometimes the general overview may be containing too much details or too complicated for us to start with. So we might as well start with hit on some keywords like the question implied us, such as Iran. Then we can see that there are 9 entries filtered out from the entire dataset. Now we highlight the 9 entries and then generate a subset from this entire collection. Now you can see that a brand new link is generated. In this view called messages of link 3, 2 types of displays are visualized. The identical display is labeled with the dark black color, whereas you can choose the related entities to visualize more, like the gray ones. Or you can choose to shut this off by just trim other propagated entities, and you can open other linked windows through that drop-down list open in linked window. Since we originate these entities from message, so the ID are all propagated, and all propagated entities are visualized use gray color fonted. Now we choose to use these visual components to help us with this visual exploration. To reflect the temporal change along the storyline, it would be better to start with timeline to show the temporal information and relate that to the development of a story. This blue icon is used to symbolize the organization, whereas the events are symbolized with the white icon. And here we can see 5 people are involved with this subset collection of data. Start from the beginning. We can scan through this message and then have a basic story in mind by reading the excerpts following this. Each event entity is symbolized with the brief introduction and the related date when it is occurred. Each highlighted entities are reflected through other views of the same link, like all of the windows of the same link are highlighted simultaneously, and each window can serve as the master to propagate the effect to other views. Except that we can choose the messages to scanning through the story, we can also choose other views. From these messages, we can see that Dahmad Ahmad is the key intermediary person in this whole scenario. As we can read from this message collection. He has been identified as a crucial member of this criminal group. Since this is going to investigate some transactions between Iranian group and Sunni criminal group, so the analyst can infer that there might be some transaction. However, as she or he just did, nothing has happened there. He can first write down his first evidence to support the first hypothesis, that is, Dahanan acts as a key link between Iranian-supported IED, or improvised explosive devices logistic network, and Sunni criminal group. He then annotated it with the green mark that is used to support the hypothesis, whereas the cross is used to disconfirm the hypothesis. This is used to encourage more comprehensive and complete consideration of the situation from both sides. Then, using these 4 views as the evidence, he inserts the related visual components to demonstrate how his mental states changed and how he can formulate this evidence. Inspired by this topic, he might also enter some other related keywords like transaction. Then he can just initiate another round of visual exploration and visual thinking supported by these different views of the visual components. From each view, he can generate a linked equivalent view of the same dataset, just as this can show. But this is all the entire dataset, since the message of link 1, the first window of this link, is generated from the navigational bar, which means that a new link is registered. As these messages and events show, Dahanan Ahmad is doubted by the members of the criminal organization. Therefore, the analyst can compose another evidence to support this, or to record what he is thinking through this entire process. At the information foraging loop, where the main activities is targeted at exploring and comprehending the dataset, it is reported that alternative hypotheses should be generated as many as possible, and it is useful to conduct some brainstorming activities. So whether it is going to be used as the final evidence, it is still useful to record what the analyst has gone through while he compose and interact with the visual analytic tool. Then he just embed another set of views to back up what and how he goes through this entire process. In his subsequent reading, he further found that Darnam Ahmad is arranged to conduct a transaction as a spy on the side of the policeman, and he is delivered with some resources or facilities to help with this entire surveillance. This also demonstrates the intertwined and very dynamic development of this typical scenario of intelligence activity. The role of the same person can change over time, and it involves various dimensions to consider when it comes to the same entity. Suppose the analyst needs some rest, or he gets some interrupted while he's doing his work, and then he just sees what he went through. By the time he opened his notes, he can just edit it in another workbench window and resume what he has left in the past. He can regenerate the views by clicking the saved view link, and then we can see that the views that is used to be what he has been working around is shown here. He can still play with it and alter it and change the layout or the highlighted items by interact with it. Now he just chose 5 messages from the message of link 5 and generate another subset of it, of messages linked 6, and then he would like to select the messages that is involved with outdoor Jared Warhill. Then, using this filter result, he generated another subset of messages of link 7. As we can see, the messages derived from Abdul Jabbar Wahid does not limit the scope of the people that is involved in this message dataset. Instead, it gets propagated to other related entities. In this case, other people like Dana Ahmad Mahmoud. He then can explore other perspective of the story when he looked at from Wahid's angle. Selecting the related entities in terms of person, we can see that the messages that contain these related people. From these 2 records, Wahid denied his identity as a intermediary person for transaction between Iran facility group and Sunni criminal group in Iraq. And we can further test what we found in the network by looking at the related relationship. Right-clicking on this notes table, we can reopen the workbench and edit it with further evidence we would want to add on. In this case, we can see that while he denied his identity as a key member, therefore, this can be seen as some form of disconfirmation of this hypothesis that Iran also provides some electronic trigger components to Shia insurgents in Iraq. Although this is from the interrogation report, the subjective view is dependent on whether he has told the truth or not. Therefore, an experienced analyst can add more person-related note and save what he wants to leave there.